Hey there, welcome back to the virtual table. I have played this game a lot since the last recording, trying different things, and I actually epically failed one of those times. And I'll try to step you through it. This is one of those games that I can't imagine it's very fun to watch. Um Largely because it's a game about being more efficient. Um so like when you play and you fail, the reason you failed is because you weren't efficient enough. I mean, that's really the answer, and or you just didn't understand the game mechanic. I guess could be the other answer. Um, but let me show you a few things. So, for example, you can see I was trying again, and I actually jumped 4 times. So, and then you can see I was actually struggling. So let's load the struggling one, and I just want to show you moments before I actually lose the game. Sorry, I'm getting a drink here. Now, with the first playthrough that you were watching, you're going to see that this is different, because this is a different playthrough I did after the one we recorded. I made things more efficient, and I'm going to go ahead and pause it real quick. So, what I did was I made Sector 1 look like this. There's a lot of stuff here to look at, but if you go into a DOS center, there's this thing called specializations. So as long as I have this little space symbol and I get, docking load and unload 30% faster, hull repairs 10% more efficient. I have Sector 2 as a food tier, 10% less water, they produce more waste. Sector 3 is not specialized, 4 doesn't have one, a center. But you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have. Do I have all 6? I have 6 of. I'm sorry. 5. Yeah, Sector 5 is not unlocked yet. I got 5 of the 6 sectors unlocked. And I don't know what this event is. Oh, look at this. Everybody's starving. And I'm actually going to get removed as administrator because of a mutiny. That's what's happening to me. Things are not good. But let me just show you a couple of things. Sector 1, more or less the same as when you last saw. You may notice that there's this little thing going across the top. That's actually a train, which is very cool. There's a train now that moves across between sectors. I made Sector 6 into a pure industry sector. So here's your silicon fabricator. This is an alloy maker, 2 of them. We have our polymer maker, and then we have a waste processor. And I'm using it to make alloys at the moment. And then if I come over here to the right, this is our food sector, and I have several crop farms and an algae farm. But here is the dilemma. The reason why everybody's starving is it takes well, this one it produces per cycle, but this one takes 10 cycles to produce food. It produces a lot of food, mind you, but it takes 10 cycles, and there's a meal cycle every 5. So you're going through, it's only going to produce food once every 2 meal cycles. Now, it's going to produce enough food for both meal cycles, but it's very slow. And then this one here is every 5. So, but it doesn't produce as much food per cycle. But over the course of 10 cycles, this actually does produce more overall food because it's the higher level farm. But here's my dilemma that I ran into. I ran out of ice. You need water to fuel these food stations, and I ran out of ice. Why did I run out of ice? Well, that is because in this section, see this little storm? It moves, and it chases after you. Like, in a way, it chases after you. So we started the mission over here on this side, and I had to stop mining ice and stuff, and then I had to actually move through the entire storm to get over here. And that took like many cycles to do, and so now everybody's starving. And so the mistake I made, this is the lack of efficiency, is I need a food source that I need an insect farm food source that isn't ice dependent. So if I do run out of ice temporarily, I have plenty of ice now because after I landed here, I've been mining, you know, and trying to get my stuff back, trying to get my alloys back. It's just I'm not getting it quick enough. I have to wait 10 cycles for this food to come out. And you can see everybody's starving. Sector 3, I'm starting to get some of those insect farms going, but it's too little too late. And you can see Sector 3 really isn't much of anything. It's just a bunch of stuff. And actually I had a bunch of ice storage that I used here. I didn't really, specialize it into anything. I do have another waste incinerator going on, and that's it. And then Sector 4 is a whole lot of nothing, and I'm starting to turn it into more food. So you can see I'm starting to catch on to the concept of if I would have... What I did here was fine. It's okay to use ice and make these high food sources, but I need to dedicate another sector to nothing but these insect farms. So a whole sector of insect farms, another sector of regular farms. So 2 sectors dedicated to food. Then I still have, so if I have 2 sectors dedicated to food, 2 and 3, let's say. 1 is just your basic spaceport. 6 is our industry sector. I still have 2 sectors to do whatever's left. So it's not as bad as, as you think. And so it's really just about, I just got to be more efficient. So before I said I was struggling. I said struggling. That's the one I just loaded. This was jump 4. So after we did the jump, wait, okay, I just chewed on some ice. That was probably very loud for you. So this is the very same game, but we're going to be on the other side of the storm. Oh. So here I am on the other side of the storm. So this is how it starts when you jump in. There's a destroyed command center, and I guess I'll spoil the story for you a little bit. What happens in the mission that you last saw is we do discover the fate of the ship that we were following. It got attacked by the United Nations. So the United Nations basically declared Dolos Corporation to be against humanity, so they hate us. But then the United Nations got destroyed by a pirate ship. And it's this massively powerful pirate ship. Don't ask me how they got the resources or whatever, but they do. And I thought Dolos Corporation was the only one that had the ability to do these jumps, but yet there's the United Nations doing these jumps, the pirate ships are doing these jumps. I mean, why did humanity need us at all? I mean, it sort of like diminishes it for me, but basically, the ship got destroyed by the United Nations, and you do end up finding them, and they actually had survivors, like not cryogenically frozen, like literally surviving. The ship is crashed into a frozen planet, and they're literally just living in the ship in 2 sectors. Because it's a ship just like ours, right? It has all these sectors. So 2 of the sectors were still active, and that's what they were living in. And then after we went to rescue them, they didn't want to be rescued. They liked their new life, and they no longer want to try to find new civilization, and they're completely rattled by the battle. It's a little weak, if you ask me, but that's what it was. And in order to help them to survive in their 2 sectors, we did take, I don't know, it was something like 800. So 800 crew did agree to come with us. Just because it helped the other 800 to survive. Like, they basically split themselves in half, the survivors. So we have a lot of people now, in terms of crew, on our ships. Like you can see, I have plenty of surplus in every sector, except for this one. I need some more people. So we can fix that, and then this one as well. But anyways, I don't intend to play this. I just wanted to show you that when I moved here, I am sort of low on the ice. I am doing really well, though, in terms of iron and alloy. So what I did was I allowed, and see, look, I have a bunch of ice right here. 300, in fact. What I have to do is I have to convert one of these into ice so I can transfer it over to the other group. This storm, every time you finish a science mission, like let's say I clear researching this area, like there might be several choices, but when I'm fully done with this, the storm will move. It'll move towards me. And then there's going to be a bunch of other locations we haven't found yet that are going to pop up here. So I'm going to get to look at a whole bunch of them, and the storm's going to keep getting closer and closer. And then eventually I'm going to have to bite the bullet and then move through the storm with the Tycoon to get to this side of the storm. Because it's moving towards us right now, and I need to get to the other side. And so the Tycoon's going to take all kinds of hull damage. It takes like a whole bunch of cycles to move that far. It's not pleasant at all. There's nothing pleasant about it. And in the meantime, there's all these resources here. One of the key things is I made a mistake of being conservative, because your ships need to be in port. You have to have them docked in order for the Tycoon to move, or otherwise they'll all get destroyed by the storm. Even the probes get destroyed by the storm. I can't even send probes through the storm. It's bad. What was I going to say? Oh, so I was being stingy about sending them out to get resources. It's not a smart thing to do. Like, this is where the other reason I lost is because I played the scenario poorly. I need to play this smarter. Also, there's a planet. I think you can see I'm exploring this right here. I'm going to find a planet out here in this outer ring. Since the storm's moving towards us, I need to explore the stuff that's closer to the storm edge, and then save that planet for the last thing. So I made that mistake too, where I started doing the outer ring and then not doing the inner ring stuff. Okay, so with that out of the way, this is a highly annoying mission, and people have complained about it, and I can understand why, and it's all because of this space storm mechanic. The last thing that I learned is I had no batteries. If you have batteries, you can survive going through the storm better, because the batteries will keep power on for a certain number of cycles. The batteries do eventually run out, but if I can get through 3 cycles with batteries, for example, then that means I could travel for 3 cycles and not have any penalties or nobody starving, none of that stuff. So that's the other lesson. And also, we're actually chasing the UN ship, I believe. And so this is the destroyed UN ship right here. This destroyed command center is the UN ship. And yeah, the Edamanaki. So this is the UN ship that destroyed our buddy, the Protagoras or whatever. So they destroyed us, right? We found 2 sectors, trying to survive. Now we're looking at the destroyed United Nations ship. And so anytime we find people alive, they want to kill us. They're not very nice. But we're researching remnants of that, and we're learning about this more mega pirate ship. And eventually you're going to get this quest where you need to have a crap ton of batteries, because it's the only way you can survive the pirate ship. It tries to neutralize you or whatever. And that shows up here. It's like one of these research things that you unlock is you're going to learn more about the pirate ship. I think it's this one. The other thing is this here, it uses 50 waste to fulfill all water needs in a sector. Very valuable if you're going to have a bunch of algae farms, and then you don't need those insect fields anymore, because now you don't need ice. So you can completely go ice independent with this thing. It just costs 90 research, and as you can tell, I didn't do it. I did research the train station, which was pretty awesome. This drone bay looks fantastic. I just don't know what it does, and never had a chance to get it. The mushroom wall, I think, is crap. I never used it. The cell housing, I think I did make one. Right here. So the cell housing holds 125 people, and it has to be on the outer edge that looks out at space. But the people don't like it, so they get angry at you because they're in crappy housing. You get a bunch of -1s, by the way, so there's all kinds of reasons that people start to hate you. Let's see. I was trying to build this. It gives a +1 in the sector, and then every other sector that's connected via the train station. The train station is extremely resource intensive. You need a lot of electronics, a lot of alloys. Because you have to build... It doesn't take any space at all, but in order to build it in each sector, it requires a lot of resources. And I think it's 80 alloys and 3 or 5 electronics. It's something like that. But anyways, every sector you do that, you get a +1. So this looked like a pretty cool thing. You could build it in any sector, and as long as you have a train in all your other sectors, they get the bonus too. There's a whole bunch of +1 stability stuff, and I can understand why. Because I'm at a spot in the game where there's a lot of -1s happening to me. And then this health center, I didn't really have room for it. The Hull Temple, +1 stability, while the cult of the Hull is propagating. And so, yeah, some weird cult shows up in your area. It's a little weird mechanic. Here you can see I'm researching the algae farm, so I don't quite have it yet. That was the first thing I went after. And it sort of is, like here you can see I'm just relying on regular farms. The algae farm was okay. So the other big mistake I made here with these farms is you need 2 fusion water producers. This thing can hold up to 1,000 water, which seems like a lot. Like right now it's holding 456 water. But the moment I built the algae farm and put that down here, you can see I destroyed that farm, replaced it with an algae. It just drained the water like nothing. So I think I need the water treatment plant, which is fine. That part's great. The problem is you just gotta have the space for it. And if you're not gonna have the water treatment plant and you're gonna rely on ice, which I'm doing here, you need 2 of these. So you're burning twice the ice, I know, but you need 2 fusion stations, and I didn't quite set it up that way. And like I said, this sector here, which you can see has got a bunch of nothing, I really should have started putting a whole bunch of insect farms here. That was my other mistake. So if I was going to try to restore this and make this work, that's what I would have done. But that's not what I did. What I did instead was I went all the way back to the beginning. Again. And I'm getting ready to jump. I'm not in chapter 1, am I? I thought I was in chapter 2. It was at 12:42 a.m. I remember being really tired. Maybe the first jump is not considered chapter 1. That's what keeps throwing me off. So this is my latest playthrough. Okay, Sector 1 is my space sector. I have all these buildings with that space building specialization. I have 1, 2, 3 docking bays, all in Sector 1. Basically, the whole purpose of Sector 1 is to just get resources and bring them in. I have my probe launcher and an EVA airlock, all of them being space buildings. Now, I also have insect farms because I need them for the moment, but these will get destroyed, and those will make room for other things later. I need a DLS station, which I think is going to have to take up here. And if I have to build something else, I can just try to move stuff around. But it's nothing but storage. The other thing I learned is that two storage units next to each other, you eventually could get medium storage, which holds 4 times as much stuff, but it takes 2 spaces. Also, like you can see, I have the upgraded housing. So Sector 1 is pretty busy. This right here, by the way, is my cryonic center, and I plan on moving that. I'm going to dismantle it completely and move that at some point, but for now, I have to do it here. And then I also have batteries sneaking in various places, and you can see I have batteries actually in every sector so far, because I learned my lesson the hard way. And then my tech center I moved up here, which, by the way, the tech center also has a space specialization. So you want to keep that in with this. So this is very specialized in space, receiving resources, and nothing more. Well, right now it's doing cryo, and it's also generating a small bit of food, but ignore that part. Sector 6 is still my industry sector, but as you can see, I have it organized much better. I've learned that getting my storage all along the top is perfect. And then what I did was I have 2 alloy processing plants, and they're right near the iron and the alloys. Now I do have 2 more sets of alloys over here, but they're meant just for extra storage. Carbon plant is near the carbon and the polymers, right? This is the silicon plant. It's next to the electronics, and I have not built the silicon yet. I thought I did. I mean, it literally has 28 silicon inside of him. What did I do here? I did something funky. I think I might have changed the food. Oh, you know what I did? It was one of these. But because I have so much alloy right now and I needed to get rid of iron, I had to switch it. See, I have so much iron at the moment that's clogging up my docks, and so I was up to 300 at one point. I don't need more alloy. In fact, I have nowhere to store it. I have 100, 200, 300. We have a ton of alloy. So I'm getting ready to jump, but I don't have to jump. This is sort of like that stage where if you're willing to delay, you can delay. And my tech lab doesn't have any science, but it generates 3 every 5 cycles, which isn't. I mean, you gotta wait, but you know 3 every 5 cycles is at least decent. So there is a trick that people in the forums are talking about, and it is a science trick. You have to research the DLS center, which is 60, and you have to also research the waste treatment center. And here's why. The waste treatment center, well, you need the DLS center so you can turn on your waste processing policy. So every sector can start producing waste, and then you can store that waste and send it to the waste treatment center. The waste treatment center will turn that waste into alloys. So now you have an infinite number, well, you're going to get 50 alloys from it. If you were able to build a second waste treatment center, you might be able to get 100 alloys. But let's just say you only have one for 50 alloys. That's fine, because that 50 alloys is just enough to keep repairing your hull with your airlocks, right? Because you have to repair your hull over and over again. So it'll produce just enough alloys to repair your hull, and then you could basically live infinitely as long as you're producing enough food from your insect farms, which is what I'm trying to also do. So if I were to spend 120 research here and get both of those researched and built, I gotta build it too and make it all work, it could technically stay here for a very long time. And why would I do that? Well, one person basically spoke about how they got it to the point where it was all self-sustaining, and they literally just went to bed and woke up the next morning with you know, 1,000, like 999 science. Then they use that to just research everything on the inner ring and outer ring. And that was their way of, I don't know, breaking the game. I don't think that's necessary, but I will tell you that there's a lot of stuff to research in this game. And it's like the game throws so much at you, especially when you get to that next mission where the clouds are moving. You gotta have certain things researched, or otherwise you're just gonna lose. And so there is, like, you don't want to rush to the next mission. You really don't. But you also don't want to burn through all your research. Like right now I'm out of polymers. This 46 polymers is all I have. And it's saying I have 73 carbon. I don't know how. But actually, how do I have 73 carbon? Oh, look at this. But see, look, I'm out of power. There we go. I'll turn that on for a while. And actually, I could shut you off. Because we don't have any silicon anymore. Yeah, there's 0. And then if you look here, I got only 15 more. We're getting 65 more iron, 740 ice, and then we're going to be done. So, that's the issue. We're going to eventually run out of iron, which is what's happening. You can see I have a lot of surplus iron here, but even that's going to eventually run out. We're burning 2 alloys, each so many sectors, right? To repair the hull. The hull integrity is looking great. That's not the issue. The point is I'm going to eventually run out of alloys, and that's your timer. But if I did research the technology I told you about and got the waste center going, then I really could stretch this out and survive a little bit longer. Now, as you probably noticed, I'm actually at a power issue. And in order to get the next power, I need 75 polymers and 3 electronics, which I felt I didn't have. I got 2 electronics there. Well, I got 7 over here. But with this 73, I actually am going to produce some more. I think it's 1-to-1, right? Yes. So I will be able to produce 73 more polymers. So that would let me build 1 more of these. So I can finally get more power. Why do I need more power? Well, if I'm going to build that waste treatment center, I need more power. The other thing is I don't have any more people. I'm not thawing out anymore. So as you can see, I do have 30 surplus workers here. I have 20 there. And I have 60 there. So I do have the surplus workers at the moment. My limiting factor has been power. I don't have the power to turn on all the... Oh, and then I haven't showed you this yet. This is my food sector. And you can see it's very beautifully organized. These are all insect fields. And my plan is to leave them here. And when I open the next sector, you know, either this side or it'll probably be over on this side, then I'll have that be my ice, you know, user. I'm going to put algae farms or whatever over there. And then the other thing is that this trick where I put all the storage along the top, I put a bunch on the bottom to store a whole bunch of hydrogen and a whole bunch of ice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 500 ice, 6, 7, 800 ice, and 400 hydrogen. The hydrogen, by the way, are used for nuclear plants, which will give you more power. Can't really research those yet. So I'm much happier with this setup. This is much more efficient, and I hope you agree, at least so far. The balance here, after multiple playthroughs, is I want to do way more than I have the people or the power. So I constantly have to worry about my power, so that's why I have so many things shut off. And then I have to make sure I have enough people. It does look like I have all these extra workers, but that was only like right before I quit or save this game. I've been running in ultra fast mode because there's nothing left to explore, so I'm just trying to let the science get produced. But otherwise, and that was causing everybody to thaw out, right? So I finally have all these extra workers. For most of this game, I've never had enough workers. Like, I have just enough. Like, I wasn't able to turn on all 3 docks, right? I was only able to run on 1 dock. And then I eventually had 2, and now I can have 3, and so forth. So, I'm basically at the spot where I'm going to be burning through the iron and alloys to keep the hull integrity up. And at the same time, I'm just going to be generating 3 science every 5 cycles. That's all I'm gaining. And then I'm also out there collecting 740 ice. I still have a lot of ice and some more iron to get. Now there's more hydrogen out there, but if I do, I'm burning through probes. And of course it won't let me scan. It's producing another probe right now. So let me unpause this. There it goes, it just finished. So like there's a nice source of hydrogen there. So I don't know like how much do I go after hydrogen. Every probe is, by the way, spending 3 polymers. There's some hydrogen closer to home. I feel like I already sent one there. I did. There's some more iron. So like I can send out more to get more stuff, but like when is enough? Like that's a really good amount of hydrogen. I'll send that one. But there's no more carbon, is the point. I can't make any more polymers. And that just spent 3 more polymers for me. So if I want to get this upgrade going, I'm going to be spending all the polymers I have left, including whatever I'm going to make over here. So, I wanted to give this series some closure. It's just still a fantastic game for me. I know some people really just don't like it, and I can't force people to like something. To me, this game is one of the best I've played in a long time. It's a puzzle game. And as you can tell, I am constantly showing you like how I'm organizing things a little tighter, a little better. I'm constantly rethinking how I want to lay things out. This game reminds me of Anno 1800. That's what it most reminds me of. Especially when you get to the farms. When you start building the farms, it actually is like Anno 1800, where you got to lay the little mini farms around it. But you're managing your workers, your resources. You need to have battery power. And by the way, it tells you right here, I can last 3.7 cycles with my batteries. So, anyways, all I'm really just trying to say is that if you were to beat this your first try, I mean, you're impressive, I guess. But part of the fun is figuring out how to do it better the next time. And yeah, they do throw stuff at you, and it does surprise you. And sometimes, like, now that I know I got this moving cloud thing to deal with, and that I'm going to have to move my Tycoon through the cloud, and I need enough battery power to survive moving through the cloud, that does change things, because I know I have to take that more seriously. And so I have to take the batteries more seriously. And this 3.7 means I can go 3.7 cycles before this loses power. So that means for 3.7 cycles while the Tycoon's moving, that's almost a full meal cycle, right? That's, 3.7 out of 5. I'm making food. And then this one, though, is only going to last 3.6, and that one's only going to last 3. And I have 1, 2, 3 of them here. So I probably need to build more. So my issue is I only have 3. So if I build a few more, I can get this number to go up a little bit. But, that's it. That's all I'm really trying to say. As far as a few other things that I've learned since the last time, I learned about the infinite trick. I showed you that. The other thing is this is considered to be tier 0. This is considered tier 1. This is considered tier 2. Don't let that fool you. This is tier 2. This is tier 3. And this is tier 4. So when you are wondering, like, when does something unlock? See, technology tier 3 is required to unlock this. So tier 3 is getting this to show up. Now you might be wondering, well, why is it not there? Well, it also says I need integrated storage bays. That's required. So here's integrated storage bays. So you can see I haven't researched that yet. So the moment I research this, now that I have tier 3 unlocked, this will also become available. The other thing I learned is each of these pods has transporters with them. So when you see those little guys moving around delivering stuff, there's 5 transporters for each one of these. So if I need alloys right now, and I have 1, 2, 3 of these, 15 transporters of alloys will get transported all at once. And this technology increases the number of transporters by +1, as you can see. So now I'll have 6. And that just means that alloys or any thing will transport quicker. Another thing I learned, Sector 2 produces food. All of it, in fact. Especially in my last game I was showing you. I had Sector 2 producing all the food. Sector 1 is set to hold 50 food, but he can hold as much as 200. If I change this to 200 food, here's what's going to happen. Sector 2 will trade any food above 0 to Sector 1 first. Because in order to get to Sector 6, you have to go through Sector 1, right? So Sector 2 will trade food to Sector 1 until Sector 1 gets all the way to 200. And then and only then, it'll transfer its first food to Sector 6. So then Sector 6 will start starving, even though I have plenty of food. And it's because I'm waiting for all those little transporters to transport 200 food from Sector 2 to Sector 1. But if I set Sector 1 to 50, like this, I still have to wait for the transporters, but once Sector 1 gets to 50 food, then it'll start transferring food over to Sector 6. So, setting your limits to a lower number, especially when you're using one sector to supply all the other ones, is going to be better. And that's why I was saying the next food sector I'm going to make is going to be here, in Sector 5. So I'm going to have a food sector here and a food sector here, so that way they're both going a short distance. If I make this another food sector, Sector 3, it's not going to do me any good. Because both of them are going to have to go this way to deliver food, and Sector 1 could hog it all up. So by putting a food source here and there, I now have both ends of the wheel covered. It's just, these are things you learn as you play, and it just helps you to get a little bit better. So, anyways, I don't know if there's anything else you really want to see. I don't plan on just playing the game. This is also a part you've already seen. I'm literally... I'm after we crack the moon in half. That's the phase I'm in here. I've already done all the exploration. I'm just waiting for everything to get cleaned up. So I will do this, and maybe I can pick it up again once I get back to where the clouds are, which would be the next jump. Because I know you didn't see the part where we find the other ship, the protagonist or whatever it's called. It's pretty good. Decent story-ish. It's got a decent story, the game does. I don't understand why the humans, in the face of total annihilation, are being so petty at times, but that's different. Anyways, thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome, and consider this my closure. If you don't, you may not see any more videos from me. I hope this gave you a good introduction to the game. Also gave you some nice final strategies. yeah, I love this game. I absolutely love it, and I sit there at work and I can't wait to get off work so I can play this game some more. Thanks for watching. See ya.